Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's revolutionary roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's patriotic perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com. Good morning, rise and freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. Nice to see you here. It's Freedom Family Friday, so my smoking hot redheaded libertarian wife Stephanie P's in the house. What's up, Stephanie?
I'm doing great, feeling better.
Good. How's baby P for Liberty doing?
Wonderful. We are almost in our 16th week. We're going to our doctor's appointment next Friday.
And how long do we find out until we find out whether it's a boy or girl?
4 more weeks after that, so 20 weeks we'll have an ultrasound and we'll be able to see the parts.
It's the parts, the baby parts.
The jiggly bits.
Be able to see if he's built like his dad. They call me tripod. Yeah.
Right. If it's a boy, it'll probably be like so huge.
I
They'll
know.
be like, whoa.
Gigantic, just like his daddy.
The Peterson genetics.
Who's your daddy? Welcome to the Wake Up America show. Well, my dad is John D. Peterson, and he had 2 biological sons, and we adopted one sweet little girl, Jody Peterson. And on this show on a Friday, we like to bring on the children of Daddy P. Well, soon I'll be Daddy P. Joining us now is a man who will never be a father, my brother, Justin Peterson.
Oh my God.
Joining us live right now. What's up, Justin? Nice facial expressions.
Hey, how's it going, you genetic dead end?
Oh, hey, you could be a sperm donor, okay?
That's true.
You could have your own child.
That is a true statement. That is a true statement. That is true. That is true.
Can I tell you that we had like secret conversations when we were trying to conceive? We're like, okay, what if we can't conceive and it's my fault? Maybe we could get Justin to donate, right?
Well, I mean, that would be biblical. That would be biblical.
Was that a good face or a bad face?
It was like.
Oh, you wouldn't do that for us?
See, you wouldn't do that for us, Justin?
If we were living in Bible times, but this is not Bible times.
Well, you wouldn't have to obviously do the deed, Justin. You wouldn't have to lose your gold star status.
It's just cool to have like the genetics of the family in continuing on.
Yeah, we're not asking you to like,
I mean, that's what happened
deed.
to Onan. That's God killed him. That's the story of Onan in the Bible, right?
Onanism.
Oh, yes.
You know what onanism is?
Learned about that.
Yeah, because like God commanded him to impregnate his brother's wife, and he refused to do so. He committed onanism, and so therefore God killed him because he, spunked on the stomach.
He shot it on the tent wall. I think.
He shot it. No, I think it was on. Was it on the tent wall or the stomach?
No, he said on the ground. They say on the ground.
On the ground. It was lost in the desert. Yeah. So anyways,
maybe we'll find it one day in an excavation.
Oh, those were the family values of that time.
Biblical extermination. Anyways, so I have to say thank you to a little child who's listening right now. Franny.
Speaking of that, children.
High five from Franny, and Franny is in favor of choking Elmo, which is a little odd for the context that we're in right now.
Do to you, Franny.
Is that another term for onanism? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Choking Elmo?
Choking the Elmo.
The child listening.
That's hilarious. Justin, before we get to the story that we brought you on here, I did like your POV on Tucker Carlson interviewing Putin, and what was it?
Oh, I just said that, if we're living in the rules of a sane society, even somebody like we should interview even someone like Adolf Hitler. You know what I mean? Why shouldn't a journalist want to talk to someone like that? So it's just, you can't talk to him. You can't talk to him. I'm like, what is this, high school?
Well, they didn't want him to do the interview But plenty of mainstream media reporters had been trying to get an interview with Putin for years. Right.
Yeah.
So like NBC, CNN, a lot of these left-wing reporters, they had admitted that they had tried and failed to get interviews with Vladimir Putin, over the last couple of years, but he had done no interviews with Western media since he had invaded Ukraine. So,
I do have a question
Sounds
about
like
Hitler.
yeah, go.
Back in history,
Okay.
did he ever do interviews like with newspapers or anything, or is there record of that?
Yeah, there are
Oh,
interviews.
okay.
There are Adolf Hitler interviews.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just
not only
curious.
that, but wasn't he the Time Man of the Year in 1938? He was on the
Oh,
cover of
he
Time magazine.
was.
Yes, he was the
Yeah.
Time Man of the Year,
Oh my
and
goodness.
Time Magazine in subsequent years has had to defend that and explain that like the justification for putting someone on the cover of Time Magazine is not to lionize them or to claim, that they're necessarily a good person. It's simply to argue that this is a person who is having a major impact on the world at this point in time.
Well, he certainly did.
Yeah.
That's really twisted.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Anyways, so the big story that I brought you on here, Justin, to laugh at is the clip of Larry David choking out Elmo on TV, which by itself probably wouldn't have been that big of news until there was a reaction to it. Let me just roll the clip really quick.
The weather and
Not yet.
wait. Oh my gosh, you love Elmo, don't you?
Oh,
you okay?
just a lie. Elmo liked you before.
Ask permission before you touch people, Larry.
Okay.
Who is that? Elmo's father standing next to him? Like, who is that little
I don't
red,
know. Well, I haven't
red
watched
dude
Sesame
next
Street
to
in
him?
years. Well, anyways, I'm not going to read the entire screed that Will Wheaton, the actor from Star Trek in the 1990s, posted, but let's just say it was a little unhinged, wasn't it, Justin?
I mean, I read that and I thought, wow, this is the like dictionary definition of what someone being triggered looks like, because he was like talking about his father, like in the tweet, like he was going in to talk about his dad. I'm like, bro, you're letting your ass hang out here on social media. Like it was saying more about him than anything else. It was like, this is a mental health problem. like,
Oh
bro.
gosh.
Yeah, it was really cringy. It was really cringy.
What was he saying about his dad? Did his dad used to hurt him or something?
I guess so. Like, I guess he had an abusive dad. Like, what was?
Oh,
you have the
okay.
tweet pulled up, Austin? Do you have it pulled up?
Yeah, I've got the tweet. I've got the tweet pulled up from Will Wheaton. So here's what he said. He says, so I heard Larry David assaulting Elmo on television, but didn't watch it until now because I knew it would upset me. Holy S, it's worse than I thought. What the F is wrong with that guy? Elmo is like the best friend to multiple generations of children. In the Sesame Street universe, Elmo is a child who is currently putting mental health and caring for others in the spotlight. And Larry effing David did that. And I thought it was going to be funny, and he thought it was going to be funny. What an a-hole. What a self-centered, tone-deaf a-hole. He says, full disclosure, all the time when I was growing up, my dad would grab me by the shoulders and shake me while he screamed in my face. He choked me more than once. He was always out of control, always in a furious rage, and always terrifying. I'm a 51-year-old man, and my heart is pounding right now, recalling how I felt when I was a little boy who loved Grover the way today's kids loves Elmo. And he goes on and on and on.
Oh, yeah, he was having a major trigger situation. So he's connecting his childhood because he probably remembers watching Elmo and that was his safe space. And then he also connects that with his dad abusing him. It was just like basically a bomb exploded in his head when he saw that event because he's like, oh my God, my dad. He was probably picturing his dad as Larry David attacking Elmo.
We have a new guest over on the show today. First time I've seen him. Give a big welcome to Damian Marr UFO.
Hi.
He says it's the same reason Bart Simpson isn't choked anymore. Apparently this man, seeing somebody gets choked is a major triggering thing.
Oh
for a
yeah,
lot of
you
people.
never know what's going to trigger you, but
But
that whole
what
inner
I love
child,
about it is that
it's very complex.
What I love is like I'm triggered, and my first impulse is I gotta go to social media and tell you about it. Like in my day, we kept our shit to ourselves. You know, like if you're having a feeling, you talk to your therapist or your priest or your friend or whatever.
We need
Like,
to we need to remarginalize mental health, is what we're saying.
I'm just like,
Well,
like,
he did see therapists, so.
well, but
That is
we're also
mental
living
health.
we're living in this weird time where like all of these like pseudo like mental health quotes are out about stuff, and people are like diagnosing stuff they shouldn't be diagnosing. Like, it's
Yes,
so
thank you for saying
ridiculous.
that. Like dementia and Biden.
Stephanie,
I
just
know. I
call
heard
me
that
out.
part of the conversation. I'm with you, girl. I'm with
Thank you.
you.
I feel validated.
But let's also talk about the fact that I hate Elmo.
Why? Why?
Because
Oh, my brother.
I do have my Elmo red on, so I
Okay,
got my
well.
Elmo red on today. Let me tell you what, that mother effer came into Sesame Street in the like 90s, 80s, late 80s. He took over from the king of Sesame Street. And you know who the king of Sesame Street was?
Grover.
Mother effing Grover, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Grover was the king of Sesame Street.
Exactly.
Okay?
Uh-oh.
And
This was before
that
my
little
time.
red asshole came in. That little red asshole came in and like took over, and Grover got marginalized. And all of us Gen Xers know this is true. And it's like, what happened to Grover, man? Grover was the bomb. Like Super Grover, Grover in the restaurant, waiting on the guy on the table.
What was the Grover book? And it was like, no, don't turn the page.
Yeah,
Turn the
yeah.
page. Grover was the king.
Grover was the hypochondriac, neurotic, every kid just loved.
Yes.
But here's the thing. I'm going to say this. Oh, you're going to get it fresh and hot today. The
We
thing
like
about
it hot.
Grover is that Grover is closer to the reason, that true reason of what puppets were. Like that puppets were more slapstick, right? They were more, there was a lot of pratfalls and lots of stuff going on. And that tradition goes all the way back to Punch and Judy. Like if you go back to the puppets of Punch and Judy, like that, one of those puppets had a bat, and that puppet would like bat the shit out of the other puppet, and like
What?
kids in the street
Yeah.
would be like, yeah, beat
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
So it was
Punch
very
and Judy.
violent in the puppet world.
Yeah.
Puppetry
So,
literally has its core in violence. The
Oh.
start of all
Mhm.
puppetry has always been violence.
Yes.
It's
Mhm.
always been violence.
Punch and Judy.
So Punch and Judy, baby. Like watch
I
Punch
don't
and Judy,
think
like,
so.
oh my God,
See,
they're
it's like
just
for us younger generation, we don't know this.
Well, here's the thing. So this is like the first time in my life my musical theater degree will come in handy. But in our musical theater history course, the origins of theater, there's a puppet section, and Punch and Judy is like one of the major origins of the modern stage, because so many actual live shows were built around these choreographed puppet shows that involved a male character and a female character, and he's beating the crap and choking the crap out of this Judy character.
This is why domestic violence exists in
Yeah.
the world.
So you might. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's why domestic violence exists.
Not video games.
But
it's
you'll
puppets.
you'll know that it's a theater kid who wrote an article when they write a review of a movie if they call it a Punch and Judy show, because it's like the Honeymooners is an example of a television show
Mhm.
where he's like one of these days, Alice, right to the moon, right? I'm gonna sock you, right? He's gonna punch you in the he's gonna punch you. He's threatening to punch his wife. You know what I'm talking about? The Honeymooners.
I didn't watch that.
That's
Really.
even before my
I
time.
got you.
Punch and Judy. Oh, right to the moon, Alice. Right to the moon. That's a Punch and Judy show, kind of a sketch.
Oh wow.
Yeah, anyways, but
Okay.
I have to say
And
something.
Larry David has that old school humor too.
Yeah, Larry
he knows about all that.
He's old school. He's old
Right.
school. Mighty Megatron dropped in $2. Thank you.
Oh,
So did Look It's Liz. Thank you, Liz. We
my
appreciate
gosh,
you.
everyone's being so nice. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you very much. Anyways, so yes, Elmo came in, took over. Even older millennials like me, we definitely felt edged out by Elmo, because it did, like, for a show that was already aimed at kids. I feel like Elmo dumbed it down even more, where the show felt very educational, and then when Elmo came along, it was like you went from like a 4th grade level to a 2nd grade level. Am I
no one
wrong?
liked Elmo. Nobody that watched nobody that grew up on Sesame Street, the OG Sesame Street, was into Elmo ever. We were always like, who is this interloper and where did he come from? Get him out of here. We don't want him.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I can
But he
see-
was the first in this trend to like bring in these other Muppets that are like, hi, here's the one-eyed Muppet for people
the
that only
gay
have one
Muppet.
eyeball.
I'm
It's
the
like
Muppet
so
with
dumb.
AIDS, you know?
Yeah, it's so stupid.
They do have very
so
diverse
dumb.
Muppets nowadays.
Yes.
Which is so funny because they're all like blue and orange and green and yellow. And I'm like, what the freak do you want?
It's not easy being green. Oh, yeah.
Bird. I mean, he's been around forever. What about him?
yeah.
You know we love us some Big Bird in our house.
Cut
Did
to
everyone
me.
love him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cut to
Justin.
me growing up as a kid when his friend Snuffleupagus wasn't visible. Okay, I grew up in the time when
yes.
Snuffleupagus was an invisible friend, and everybody, because that was the time everyone was talking about having invisible friends. You know, children were having
Oh.
invisible friends.
I loved having those. Yes.
So yeah, so nobody could see Snuffleupagus, and then one day they revealed Snuffleupagus, and all of Sesame Street was like, "Wow!" And then it was like all the fun was gone because it was like
Yeah.
Snuffleupagus
Don't
is
show
now
the
everybody can see him.
wizard.
Boring.
Yeah, he was a giant elephant character, right?
Oh, okay, I
Yeah.
remember him.
Snuffleupagus was invisible though for a while, which is another
Yeah.
another theater trope of like the invisible character on stage.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, like Punch and Judy come out of Commedia dell'arte, out of Italy. So that's a whole Italian tradition of like, Harlequin and like whatever the name of the girl is, Columbina, all of those like tropey kind of archetypal characters. But like, man, we would go to Vacation Bible School and they'd have puppet shows. They'd be like singing about Jesus, be like, Jesus, Jesus. And then the puppets would beat the crap out of each other. And us kids would be like, yeah, beat his ass in church.
The Jesus puppet shows, they would beat each other?
Yes. Oh,
Oh
yeah,
my
we had
goodness.
yes, we had puppet shows in Vacation Bible School, the whole 9 years. I mean, it was my favorite thing because the puppets were like the kids who did them were kind of ornery, of course. So like then the puppets would come up, and all of us kids, like first graders, second graders, we'd be like, yes, puppets. Like it was just like the most amazing
Justin,
thing.
do you remember? And Stephanie doesn't know this about us, but do you remember that you and I actually appeared alongside a marionette doll in a studio
Oh, yes.
recorded album?
Oh, yeah.
And you and I did the vocals for a Christian
Hmm?
ventriloquist doll. It wasn't a
That's right.
marionette. It was a Christian ventriloquist doll in a professional recorded studio when
That's
we
right.
were growing up.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Paula and Lester.
What's the story?
I need to hear this.
Yeah.
No, it was like the project for Mom, I think, when Mom was sick. So I think it was something that we kind of put together and we
Oh.
sang songs and Paula, I think it was Lester. wasn't
I
it Lester?
love the Lord, and no matter what
It's
friends
so good.
may
It's so good.
say,
It's so
I
good. I don't
love
even
the
remember.
Lord, and I
You're
know
better than
He
me.
loves me.
And you were controlling the mouth
I
of
love
the.
it.
No, so I was singing with Lester the puppet.
Oh, okay.
So Lester was the marionette doll that our friend Paula would go do at her shows, and it was
Yeah.
always a Christian message.
That's right.
And so Justin and I both sang a song in the album along with the ventriloquist doll, and Paula would do the voice for her.
Mhm.
So
But Lester was well behaved. He wasn't a violent puppet.
no, he was not a violent puppet, right? We had our own little inside jokes that we said whenever we weren't around Lester, but he was.
I
a
still
good,
say that line when he goes,
he's a-
I got $3 from my allowance and I can spend it. I always say that line all the time. And I can
Aw.
spend it. Because you have to
Yeah.
like not move your lips. And I
Yes.
can spend it. Yeah.
So for those of you who might be tuning in thinking we're talking about Joe Biden or Vladimir Putin, oops, it's Friday.
Well, Joe Biden's a puppet.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of puppets,
There you go.
let's just reset real quick because I know some people are like, who the hell are these weird people that I'm watching right now? Because we do have 750 people or so who are tuning in right now, probably going, who are these weirdos? I'm Austin Peterson. Freedom Family Friday is the day that I bring my family on the show, and we like to goof off and be silly. So my lovely smoking hot redheaded libertarian wife, Stephanie, sitting here.
Hello.
Yep. And then on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see my brother, Justin Peterson, joining us live from Boston this morning. Glad to have you here, Justin. We appreciate you very much. Justin,
Wow.
you are an artist, you're a singer, you're a music teacher, you own your own business, you write a Substack about vocal coaching. You've recently been getting into artificial intelligence and expanding your repertoire and your content creation. It's been exciting to see what you've been building over there. And we love having you here on the show on Fridays because you also have unique political takes related to your background in history and art. Shakespeare has always been my man. I've always been a big fan. To me, the classical literature and the art of Shakespeare, in the loss of it in modern society, I think is really one of the greatest losses, because to speak the English language is to speak Shakespeare, and too many people don't know Shakespeare, and it makes me feel embarrassed when I'm quoting Shakespeare on people who look at me like I'm a retard,
Like me.
like I'm the stupid one. Okay.
I don't know too much Shakespeare.
But more and more, Justin, the people that I find that are my peers that are the ones who would recognize these historical quotes or the Shakespeare quotes, the people that I might hang around in life who would know what I'm saying when I say, speak this speech, I pray you trippingly on the tongue. more and more, I feel like these people are actually the retards. I'm reading this story from the Royal, I believe it's the Royal Shakespeare Theatre of Company here. Excuse me. Yeah, the Globe Theatre. So Shakespeare's Theatre in London has come under fire for a supposedly controversial casting choice. Last week, it was announced that Michelle Terry would be taking on the titular role in Shakespeare's Richard III later this summer. Outrage immediately ensued because, according to identitarian activists, Terry doesn't have the lived experience needed to play the scheming king. Certainly, there are some pretty glaring differences between Michelle Terry and Richard III. For one thing, Terry is a woman, and Richard obviously was a man. But what actually upsets the usual suspects is the fact that Terry is not physically disabled. Okay, so Justin, the people who would understand my Shakespeare quotes, what the fuck is wrong with them?
I have no idea. I just am like, does anybody know what acting is? Does anybody have a clue? No, I think the answer to that is no. People don't understand what acting is. That you're supposed to portray people that are not you. And by the way, I'm calling shenanigans because Richard III, right? Is that who the character is? Richard III?
Richard III.
Yeah. He had scoliosis. That's not
a disability exactly. Like,
I mean, it can't
mental
be, right? They
disability.
called him a hunchback.
He had a curvy spine.
Oh,
Okay.
a lot of people have scoliosis.
I had scoliosis, and I thought it was a venereal disease. Growing up, not really. I was in middle school. I was in middle school.
I thought it was like a what's eating Gilbert Grape kind of situation where Leonardo DiCaprio was playing a special needs person.
So here's the thing,
That's
Justin.
what I was thinking.
Scoliosis.
So wait. So what are the rules here, Justin? So black men can play the founding fathers in Hamilton the musical. Chicks can play Richard III, can play male roles.
Chicks can play men in 1776. They just did a production from Broadway where all the founding fathers were played by non-binary women, which is weird to say, but whatever.
So George Washington is a BIPOC.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Bi person of color could play George Washington. Okay. But they draw the line at a woman. It's okay to be a woman playing a man, but you got to be a disabled woman playing a man. What's the rules here, Justin?
There are none. They're making it up as they go. It's all virtue theater. Really, it's all it is. It's not really Shakespeare. It's just virtue theater. And, it's like they don't understand acting. Part of acting, the best actors try to get sympathy with the characters that they're playing, even when they're not. Like Sean Penn played a mentally disabled person in that movie. I can't remember the name of it years ago.
There's so many acters that have played mentally disabled people.
The guy that played the Elephant Man, right?
Yes!
If you remember the movie The Elephant Man.
Yes, I love that movie.
Like he was, remember Mask? Remember the movie Mask with Cher about the kid, what was his name, Randy or whatever his name was, who had the misshapen face?
Did you ever see Tropic Thunder? Ben Stiller played the retarded guy in that movie. Try and win, and then Cuba Gooding Jr. in the radio.
And What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Leonardo DiCaprio. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Right.
Yep. I mean, this is even an opera
We could go on and on.
There's like in operas, there's a character in the opera Rigoletto by Verdi. Rigoletto is literally a hunchback. Like he literally is deformed. And so it's like, how do you sing an opera? Or how do you find a disabled person with a hunchback?
Right.
I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you probably wouldn't be able to sing very well with your posture.
Yeah, if you want to do the Hunchback of Notre Dame, you've got to find an actual
hunchback. Yeah. Which is this. I mean, this is the dumbing down of culture.
I mean, the thing about scoliosis is that usually you can't even tell when someone has it. They have to lift up their shirt, and then you can kind of see that their back is twisted a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Damian Marr, or who was it that said this? Somebody reminded us in the chat. I'm sorry. JJ 4884. Apparently, Disney is replacing Jack Sparrow with a black woman.
Oh no! Blacks probably.
Yes,
but I mean, I wouldn't surprise me. But it doesn't. Yeah, I just don't understand. Like people don't understand what acting is. Like, it's like we're supposed to believe what we're seeing on stage, right? Are we not? Like, and if you believe it, then the actor's done a good job. But
Yes.
there was a Shakespeare production of something in New York where one of the characters was Macbeth, and one of the characters that was going to be the assassin of Macbeth or something like that was in a wheelchair. Now, come on, I can run faster than the assassin in the wheelchair. I'm just saying. It's like that story, when you're growing up in theater and it's like, it's like West Side Story and the gun doesn't go off or something. It's like poison shoe and you throw the shoe at somebody, It's like the stupidest.
Man.
Over on the live stream, Mighty Megatron gave us a tip and just cracking me up. Thank you, Megatron. He said, this stuff is history revision too. Play their game. Play the woke game back. I want to see a white or Asian Shaka Zulu. Hey, Disney, make Tarzan black. I want to see him swinging off trees with the monkeys.
History Month, you guys.
But here's the thing.
No.
They are doing, there's a Hallmark channel and they're doing a production of a Jane Austen story. I think it's Sense and Sensibility, and they cast an all black cast. Well, I was heartened actually to read the comments because it was a lot of black commenters saying, enough of this. Like, stop. It's basically blackface. You're putting black faces on white characters. And it's like, tell black stories. And I'm like, yes, tell authentic black stories.
So maybe we could have a movie about Harriet Tubman and cast a white person in there,
Dude,
right?
That'd be fucking
We
hilarious.
could just be hypocritical with them.
I like the memes where it shows like, the original and it's like Adolf Hitler on the left, and then on the right it says the Netflix remake and it's a black dude, that they cast to do. It's like all these different memes.
Like a Jewish person as Hitler.
As Hitler, a Jewish person playing Hitler,
there
right?
You go.
The funniest one that I saw recently was that, Ariana Grande and how she was.
I love her, yeah.
And do you remember her from her Disney days?
Oh, yeah.
And she was very light skinned, and now she's like really dark skinned. But it's like it showed like the meme underneath it, and I'll butcher this, but it's like it said like Ariana Grande used to look like the Little Mermaid, and now she looks like the Little Mermaid.
She has evolved.
Because she went from white to dark, but the Little Mermaid obviously played by a black girl. What the hell is going on in the world? Click like and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this content. Things do get a little weird on Friday, so I see that we do lose some audience members whenever we're goofing off, but too damn bad. Friday is when we have fun with my family, Stephanie Peterson and Justin Peterson. But if you've stuck around for this kind of weirdness so far, you might as well stick around for the whole show. Click like and subscribe to the channel, and come back on Monday and join us here for on the regs. Where does it end, Justin? At some point these people are going to eat each other. It's the snake eating its own tail some point, right?
Well, here's what it'll happen. People just stop going. Yeah. People stop going to the theater because, like I've always said, if I wanted to be preached at, I sure wouldn't be in a theater. There's another place I'd go to that's like a church. If I wanted to hear a sermon, I don't go to theaters to be sermonized by activists. I just don't. I go to the theater to be moved. I go to the theater to experience human experience, to empathize, but I don't go to be preached at. I don't go, and many people don't. Many people don't. So
I used to go to the theater to escape the world, to escape my issues and problems.
Yesterday they made an announcement on Playbill that there's a musical play called My Son's a Queer, Deal With It, or something like that. That's the title of the thing. And they postponed it. So when you postpone it, people are going, are they postponing it? Are they really just kind of worried about it not getting an audience? And my friend Cam, who's very heavy in the scene of theater, he's like, this just means they're going to cancel it. They're not going to do it. So I think hopefully maybe there's a glimmer of hope that people are like, kind of like, okay, we get it. You're gay. Okay. Like, we get it. But like, yeah. So I think it's just going to be an audience thing. But people won't come. And they're just going to not, they're going to have to change their programming because people are just not going to go. You're going to appeal to a very niche audience of activists. That's who you're making.
It's kind of like the Barbie movie, right? Like it starts off with this incredible premise and this very relevant this concept, this idea of Barbie, who is alive, asking this question: do you guys ever think about death? And then completely throws that premise away. It starts out with an epic, what do you call it? Not a satire, but just like a play on the
play on Barbie
Odyssey.
and like what she was, and it was all fun and not political. And then it got real dark real fast.
Yeah, well, and then it became. I mean, there's literally a monologue in the show about like a woman's feelings and how she's supposed to be this and how she's supposed to be that, and then it ends with it's like, I'm here for an appointment about my to see my gynecologist, right? So it's
Yeah.
right at the end, so it becomes about pussy power, and
Right.
that's what the show is about, and it's like white hot feminist rage and hatred towards men. And then the moment in that I thought was the most fascinating was when the transgender Barbie, which is a biological male
Mhm.
that looks like a woman,
Mhm.
is wooing, seducing Ken,
Yes.
and Ryan Gosling's character, bless him, he did a terrific job at acting, is he's acting like his character Ken is actually interested in this biological male pretending to be a woman, which I thought was a fantastic job of acting. But in the end, that is really the manifestation. That is the theatricality of the left's desires, which is to see biological males who are straight heterosexual males admitting that they find men attractive. In other words, being gay, but not being gay according to the rules of wokeism as it is, right? So there's a preachiness to that moment because what they're really trying to tell us is straight males should find transgender men who are, pretending to be women attractive. Am I off base here, Justin, or am I
No, I
reading
think
too much into it?
No, I think the ultimate goal is to destroy all gender so that we all look the same, and then you can't tell anybody apart from anybody else. And it's just like, oh, yeah, I think
We're
it's
all
silly. But
androgynous.
you know what's funny about this? Here's what's funny about this to me. This sort of blows up then the whole trans argument, because what is trans, right? If you destroy gender, then what is trans? Like, what is the trans experience? Because to me, trans means I'm this binary end of the binary. I want to go to that end of the binary. But then the non-binary conversation is basically saying, no, destroy all gender, destroy it all. Well, you take us all down with it, including the trans people, right? So it's like, makes no sense. But then again, logic, rationality, reason, what's that?
I'm just going to say, when searching for baby items, I'm actually really enjoying finding gender neutral items because I'm like, okay, if we have a girl or a boy, and then when we have a second child, we might have a girl or a boy. So I'm like, this is a money saver. So I'm actually making our kid very gender neutral.
Well,
first.
once we find out what the gender is, I mean,
It's, greens and grays and, colors that anyone could wear.
Right.
Yeah.
And remember, gender is not observed, it's assigned.
Oh yeah, by the kindergarten teacher.
Right.
Yes, the doctor doesn't tell you what the gender is when the baby's
won't tell you.
born.
You have to wait. So you guys need to wait like 5 years to find out.
It'll be interesting when the doctor at 20 weeks says it's a boy or a girl. We'll be like, are you assuming our child's gender?
Yeah. Justin, what else you got going on in your life? Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience before we let you go today, bro?
No, Friday's my publication date for my Substack. So if anybody is a nerd for vocal singing, which is no political agenda except historical sharing and knowledge and learning about traditional pedagogical systems, there's no politics in it. It's refreshing, and that's what I intend to keep it as. That's where I write. My Substack is my name, justinpeterson.substack.com. And yeah, that's basically what's going on for me right now.
So you keep politics out of music.
Nice.
I do.
We appreciate that.
Well, I mean, it's not that it's not political. It's just that I take a liberal view. I take a wide view of music and history. I don't just pick up one lens like that I learned in a studies class in college and go, here's my magic lens, and I'm going to interpret everything through this one lens. I'm like, that's pretty limiting to understand history.
Well, we love you, brother, and we appreciate your contributions to this show on Fridays, Freedom Family Friday. Where can people go and find your Substack again?
Yep, Justin Peterson, JustinPeterson.substack.com. Coming out today at 10 a.m. Eastern, my new post for the week.
And congratulations on all your paid subscribers you've been picking up, Justin. That's been exciting to see.
Internationally.
I'm a paid author, y'all.
That's right. That is success.
Congratulations, Justin. We wish you the best of success, and we look forward to hearing from you and seeing you again next week at this time.
Sounds good. Talk to you soon.
There we go. Give it up for our brother, Justin.
Yay!
Yay! We got 800 people watching us live right now. Can we get a little bit of a like and a subscribe for those who might just be tuning in now? We'd love to earn your subscribe to the channel so you can come back and join us here every Monday through Friday. 814 people watching live. We could hit 100 likes by the end of the show, can't we? I think so.
And people have been sending us rants
Yeah,
about
I
us
know.
asking.
I know, and yes, we're grateful for that. So thank you for all of our rants from all of our regular viewers, and we appreciate all of the support that we get. I'm Austin Peterson, the host of the Wake Up America show. My wife Stephanie Peterson joining us live. That was
Hello.
my brother Justin Peterson, who was there for a little bit. What else have we got on the kitty for today, Stephanie? I know you were really your mother gave us a topic last night.
I know she was so excited about this topic because she heard about it and being that we're having a baby. It's about the baby food diet. So apparently adults are going on the baby food diet, which is where you literally eat baby food for your snacks.
Okay. I mean, like gross, but that was that conversation, which I think by itself is, I mean, you're just eating pudding essentially, right? It's like eating
Well,
applesauce.
they have a whole turkey dinner in baby jars. I mean, I am really excited about this, you guys, because
Okay.
dinner time for me is a lot of times a chore, because it takes so long to make everything and then everyone eats everything in 5 minutes. Just buy baby jars, just buy some baby food. You get your nutrition. I can very well see myself buying the baby food with when we have our baby, and I'll eat some myself.
Okay. Well, please forgive
Absolutely.
me if I, as a grown man, do not eat baby food because I don't want to get the Hershey squirts after every meal.
I've eaten like a child. Like I've always eaten Go-Gurts, the fruit squeezies. I mean, because when you're on the go in the car, like you need something that's just super easy to like put in your mouth. Oh my God, that sounds weird. Yeah, I've always loved baby food.
And if you think that's gross, just wait until our next revelation here, Stephanie. You wanted to talk about yesterday.
Oh, well, we've been learning a lot about breastfeeding and talking about it and our preferences. And I am really interested in trying my own breast milk. I was looking up what breast milk tastes like, and I'm hearing different things. So, in the audience, if you have tried your own breast milk or husbands, I'm reading that it's very popular for husbands to drink their ladies' breast milk. So, if you all have tried it, tell me, what does it taste like? I've heard it tastes like goat's milk. Sometimes it's sweet, but it also depends on what you eat. So if your diet has certain things in it, then it'll taste a certain way.
No, God!
I mean, what do you think? Seriously, like I've always wanted to be a hobby farmer, okay? But I don't want to have a lot of animals. That's too much responsibility. Maybe I could be the animal and produce the milk for our house. We watched a YouTube video about this just the other day. Seriously, I didn't just get this idea. There's this woman on YouTube, and she literally has this problem where she keeps producing milk constantly, and she can't make it stop. And she like donates all this breast milk to organizations for charity. And I mean, it's awesome. That's a great problem to have. You can save the world with your breast milk. Why not? Why are we accepting of cow's milk but not breast milk? That's my question. Coming from a pregnant woman.
Oh.
I mean, that's just so cool.
My stepsister says it's great for pink eye. Yeah, apparently it can be used. It
Oh
has.
my God, yeah.
Apparently, it does have healing possibilities.
Yes. Like all of these mothers, we're watching all of these like tips on parenting, right? And we're weeding out the crap versus the good stuff. And yeah, people are like, put breast milk on anything. It's like in that Greek wedding movie, like put Windex on your cuts and stuff. Put breast milk on it. You have a cut, breast milk.
The thing that I found was the most interesting about breast milk and what we've learned about it is that there is a special serum that the breasts produce
Yeah.
that is called colostrum, and it is produced in the first like 2 or 3 days after the baby is born, and it's kind of like a goopy yellowish mixture of antibodies that the body produces in order to give the baby essentially its first natural vaccine, which I thought was fascinating because I would have thought like if it's coming out milky and like yellowish and all that kind of stuff, I'd be like, are you really supposed to feed the baby that? Is this like, cleaning out the pipes?
It's like brown water in your faucet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, I would have never in a million years known what that was. But apparently, like the first 2 or 3 days, this colostrum that's produced is going to give your baby all of the healthy antibodies that they need in order for it to build up immunity to infection and disease.
Oh,
And, it might
absolutely.
have been a good thing that you got COVID-19 while you were pregnant because you probably gave antibodies to the baby
Yeah,
that might prevent it from getting COVID-19, at least in the first year of its
I would think
infancy.
so.
So,
Yeah, I was like reading all up on what COVID does to babies, and there was a study that if you get COVID, then you could have preterm babies where they're born a lot earlier than they're supposed to, and
mhm,
stillbirth and all kinds of crap. So I asked my doctor, and they're like, "No, you'll be fine." So
yeah.
things have really changed from 2019 until now.
hmm Yeah, and we're obviously we're excited to be parents, and we're trying to learn as much as we can. But there's always so much conflicting information. Like
Oh
one
my God,
day
yeah.
someone will give us a piece of advice, and the next day somebody will say, no, don't do that, this is the wrong way to do it. And it's kind of like when we were talking about discipline the other day, we had a really long conversation about like how do we discipline, if it's a boy or if it's a girl.
Yeah.
And I was asking for Camellia for advice, and we were talking about it a little bit on the show yesterday too. But discipline is probably going to be one of the biggest challenges in terms of raising a kid, especially in a modern age when you've got so many new pressures that didn't exist
Oh my God. Yeah.
as we were.
CPS will come to your house for anything.
Yeah, right. So it's like, how do you raise a child in the modern world? It's different than at any other point in history. You've never had the
Absolutely.
opportunity to have an iPad kid where it's like, oh, you want your kid to shut up? Here's this, right? And some people will say, a baby's crying, this is the reason. It's like a lot of it though, and this is my point, and I'll let you take it away, is I think a lot of it comes down to instinct, right? Like yes, we should read the books. Yes, we should be prepared. But at the end of the day, I mean, we didn't always have books, and we didn't always have all of these tools and things like this. Don't get a baby walker because it's going to stunt their development. Okay, well, maybe that's true. But at the end of the day, like I think you probably have to trust your instincts in order to successfully raise a child, right?
That's honestly what I've been doing. I mean, we've been getting a lot of advice, a lot of it unsolicited. I know everybody means well, but sometimes it can be overwhelming, especially when the advice is incredibly negative and about how raising a baby is like so miserable.
Mhm.
I don't want to hear that. Like, send me your positive baby experiences.
Well, I think, and this is a topic that the audience might find interesting, is this question of your individuality, right? And
Mhm.
we had this in a very stimulating conversation last night about like me as a person, and kind of like the sacrifices that you have to make that are necessary in order to be a good parent, right? And it's kind
Yeah.
of like, there are sacrifices that I've made personally as a person who is more of an extrovert, you're more of an introvert,
Mhm.
in order to live in the Midwest in Jefferson City in a very rural area, right? I sacrifice, the opportunity to engage in like the cultural and social activities that a person with my personality traits would thrive on.
I know. I don't know how you do it, seriously.
Well,
Because even for
yeah.
me, I mean, I'm like an introverted extrovert where
Mhm,
in public, I seem like I'm very outgoing because I'm very talkative.
mhm.
But I just like my downtime where I'm relaxing at home.
Yeah, and I've learned to love it, right? And I love our house, and I love our family, and I love our our setup.
Hmm.
But I do yearn for the lifestyle that I lived when I was on the East Coast, only
Hmm.
only to the extent that I selfishly miss it, but I also wish that I could take, and have you experienced those cultural aspects of it too,
Hmm.
which we do to a limited extent. We are talking about going to Washington, D.C. next month
Right.
for the Cherry Blossom
Yep.
Festival to kind of celebrate our 1 year anniversary of going to Japan.
That's right.
And we might spend a couple of days in Washington, D.C. At the festival, and maybe go to a, Smithsonian. But,
Oh, I really want to go to Monticello. That's like my life goal. Must.
but we also talked about like raising our kids. I was kind of spoiled in the sense that I actually, when I was growing up, my dad took me to Washington D.C. several times.
Hmm.
So not only did we have a family trip as a child, but we actually got to go 5 or 6 times. I got to go because my dad knew I was interested in history. So we would, and my grandpa would go too. We went to the Civil War battlefields. So we went to Antietam and Gettysburg and to the Sharpsburg and Fredericksburg and all of the burgs,
Uh-oh, my
where all
cough's
the
about to take over.
oh,
So
that's
mute
okay.
me.
Go ahead. You're muted. Uh, and I found this fascinating. So I hope to impart that upon my child as well. Like my dream is that, especially if we have a boy who's interested in history like me, that my dream is to go with my father, go back to the Civil War battlefields and introduce my child to this history to hopefully instill in him the same love of country and the love of our shared American heritage that my father and grandfather imparted on me. I remember I have distinct memories of being a little boy, standing on a cannon, being at Pickett's Field, and identifying with one side of the conflict over another. It's different parts in my life as I learn more about this history. But these formative events in my life made me the man that I am today. And I hope that I can share that with my child. Not that there aren't cultural institutions and things to share with them here in Missouri, but we do suffer from a dearth of cultural options here that aren't like I won't say mundane, but you might call more run of the mill. If you're not into going to a football game, and God knows the big football game is this weekend, for
We know the
example.
Super Bowl is
Yes,
coming.
and I'm glad you like it, and go Kansas City Chiefs. I'm a Kansas City boy, so I'm going to root for them. But at the end of the day, like there is something that it would be missing from a child whose life would not be complete if they did not have access to the
Oh,
museums and the knowledge and the education and the institutions that exist mostly on the East Coast.
absolutely. I mean, you and I, we came from very cultured lives. Like my family, I'm from Michigan, but they took me on lots of vacations to Hawaii, Europe, China. I mean, I've been all over the world. And so I'm very, very thankful for that experience. And it's almost hard to understand a lot of people that we talk to here in Missouri who have not traveled even out of the state.
It's
And I
very
can't
common.
imagine
Yeah.
being raised and not really going anywhere. I don't know how that would affect my growth.
I heard a statistic once, and I don't know if it's true,
Mhm.
that most people do not travel more than 50 miles away from their hometown in their lives.
Yeah.
That like most people, because as I was telling you yesterday, one thing that is true is that most people in the United States don't fly. Flying is actually an elite institution. It's only
I
really
love flying.
yeah, but only really wealthy people fly.
Mhm.
It is something that is the domain of the elite. Like for a lot of people, and when you see people on Spirit Airlines that are having freakouts and being on the plane, you think, oh well, flying's really gotten bad these days and stuff like that. But like even still, like the fact is that most of the people who fly are elites. Most of the people who fly are
Right.
wealthy, and travel and vacations like that is for most people it's very rare. A lot of people they can't even afford to take a vacation.
Mhm.
Like it's not a thing where they're like, you and I, Stephanie, we have to count our lucky stars and be thankful. We can be like, oh, let's go visit Joe and we have a place to stay and we can get a free flight because of our miles
Yeah.
to go to Washington D.C. for the weekend to see the cherry blossom. I mean, have you ever heard anything more effing bougie in your entire life? Like
Right.
something like that. Oh, we're going to
Right.
celebrate
I
our
mean,
1 year anniversary of our
it
trip to Japan.
clearly takes a certain financial situation in order to be cultured.
Yes.
In order to see really good shows at the theater, you
Mhm.
have to spend money to do that, or to see music concerts, you have to spend money to see that.
But
So
like,
that's the unfortunate
but
thing.
I think your kids can grow up fine and healthy and not have to travel the world and do all these things,
Mhm.
right? And they can be fully well-adjusted adults. But my life, my particular view is that I would like to raise my children to have that broader perspective because as Mark Twain, famous Missourian, said, travel is fatal to prejudice and bigotry.
Mhm.
And the more you like live in a community like I did when I lived in New York City, I lived in a very, very poverty-stricken situation. For 2 years, when I lived in Astoria, Queens, for the very first time, I lived as the meek among the earth. No disposable income. Everything that I earned went to pay bills with not a cent left over, right?
Right.
And I lived in a poor community. And in that poor community, you come into contact with people who they do not share your background or your upbringing. You do not have, other than being American citizens, some of them, a shared cultural identity is not a thing.
It's a melting pot.
It is a melting pot. And,
Mhm.
and in that you get a perspective. Like there were no Jewish kids in my school as a kid. There was like
Right.
one black kid in our class.
Whereas I grew up with a very diverse group of kids in my school.
There were no Muslims. None. Not one. Not one Muslim. We didn't know what the hell a Muslim was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a Muslim was really until college.
Wow.
Right. And even still, I was like, my perspective was still warped from not understanding, not having most contact with it because I went to college in Missouri.
Right.
But when 9/11 happened, I was like, what do these people actually believe? Who are these people? And then you move to New York and you meet in a lot of Muslims and a lot of Jews and a lot of Orthodox Christians, right? Because we're very Protestant here. JJ4884 asks the question, any special content unlocking today? Unfortunately not. I apologize. Don't.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to think of like, what could I sell you guys?
We
like
had
baby bump something. There's like really not much to show.
No,
here.
we had such a busy week, and we were getting over illness, both of us, and we were lucky that we got through this week. So I apologize we didn't have any special content to unlock. It only hurts us because obviously it's a great way for us to fundraise.
Right.
But we'd love it if you'd visit AP for Liberty Shop today. And if you've been thinking about making a purchase for some time, please do so. We'd love to earn your financial support, and a contribution is like putting money in your own pocket, because when you
Oh, I'm sorry.
no,
Go on.
when you buy Founding Flavors coffee, you're going to have an experience that you can't get anywhere else. Absolutely delicious, premium, and you can use the code Madison to get a discount off of our brand new flavor, Madisonian Mornings. What were you going to say, Steph? Go ahead.
I was just really into this conversation that we just had, and it makes me really contemplate having some sort of a podcast or something talking about pregnancy and parenting and our experience with it, so that we can make it less negative and more positive. So it was just a great stimulating conversation. I really just enjoyed it, and I was kind of sucked into it.
Yeah, it is. It's good. I mean, defining who we are as ourselves as parents will be a challenge, because I want to maintain my individual identity. And
me too.
And it's very important to me, because my individualism and my personality is a large percentage of like who I am as a person, and how my self-confidence and my persona. Without it, like, I don't really have a career. There's no Wake Up America show without my personality as it is.
Absolutely.
Right. And so if that were to die as a parent, then what happens to the show, right? What do I become? Another mindless automaton, who's just a zombie because I'm up all night with my child and I can't think straight, or, do a show that's fun or interesting or exciting, or give them this content that they want in a way that's exciting to them. Do I lose my audience because of that, right? That's what I am afraid of, right?
Right. Maybe what we're looking for is impossible, but we're at least going to really try to still be ourselves and show our child our cool lives and bring them along with us.
Tolly Owens is here with us right now, by the way, and she's saying, tell me about this winter stuff. I supposedly won something.
Here's your shirt. It's the I'm Not Like Other Girls shirt. So it's for you. We're sending it to you.
It says, I'm not like other girls. I'm much higher on the FBI's list.
It's for you. Congratulations. We love you, Tolly.
We love you, Tolly. Thank you for being a big supporter. We always appreciate you. When you're not here, we miss you. So we'll send that out to you in the mail today, and you'll get it soon. So hope you enjoy it there. And if you don't like it, you can share it with somebody else who might be on the FBI watch list. Everybody, if you're not on the FBI watch list, you ain't a real OG libertarian. So, Stephanie, anything else you'd like to say?
As always, be free.
Be free. Thank you very much for watching the show. Before you leave, please, if you haven't already, please click like and subscribe and exit through what we're calling
the Grift Shop.
The Grift Shop at apforlibertyshop.com. That's apforlibertyshop.com. Hit that button right now. Like, subscribe, and visit the shop. We'll see you on Monday on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupamericashow.com.
Oh boy, so different to shimmy now.